Welcome to Operation Successful Transition. In this podcast, my guests and I will be talking about the 4 pillars of housing, work, benefits, and mental health to open doors for veterans and connect you with the people you need to meet. We deeply appreciate your service and sacrifice and hope to help make your transition back to civilian life smoother. Your success is important. You are important. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Operation Successful Transition. I'm your host, Sherri Echols, a realtor here in Bryan College Station area. And today I have Stephanie Mardy with me. Meet Stephanie with 15 years of dedicated service to our country in the Army. She embodies resilience and strength. As a single mother of 3, she understands the importance of building lasting memories. Today, she's the proud owner and operator of an event decorating business, driven by her passion to craft unforgettable moments for people. Her ambition knows no bounds, and she's on a mission to create memories that'll be cherished for a lifetime. Get ready to be inspired by her determination and her commitment to delivering exceptional experiences. Hey, Stephanie, I'm so excited to have you on here today. How are you doing, girl?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us what inspired you to start doing this party, event planning thing, and how things
Um,
are going.
so my inspiration kind of came because of a sequence of events that took place. I joined the military when I was fairly young, and I moved from my small town in Georgia, which I hadn't left before,
Oh,
to California. So now I find myself like this young kid in California, no family, no real community. And one of the first positions that I was in required me to plan events for like organizations. So the first one I or I participated in was our family day event,
yeah.
and it was just that moment where I realized like I'm not an extrovert. I can be if the situation requires it, but naturally I'm an introvert, and so I keep to myself, and I that prevented me from building a community. So when I participated in that event, I got to connect with people that I probably wouldn't have if I didn't put myself in that situation. Also, the planning process and just seeing how it went from start to finish and seeing the finished product and how it just brought people together and made people
Yeah.
happy. It incorporated like the families, so the families got to be a part of what we did on our business day to day. They're not there to see us in action, so this was a good way to kind of like bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's
Help.
exciting I would imagine it's exciting for the people in boot camp to see the mommy and daddy again and see their family. So what a
Yeah.
sweet event. Yeah.
So it was definitely something that opened my eyes and introduced me into the world of event planning. And so I just fell in love with the whole process. And then I figured out that I was naturally creative. So that helped too. So I enjoyed the decorating piece. So that when I found myself at a crossroads in the end of my career, and I was like, what am I going to do now? I still have to provide some kind of life for my family outside of the retirement piece. So that's when I decided to go into business and start my event decorating business.
Yeah, well, how fortunate you were to have that event happen that struck that inspiration in you and drew out exactly what you are passionate about and want to do for your
Yeah,
living. So that's exciting. So tell us kind of about what you do and what kind of events in the area you serve and the, the whole rundown.
sure. So I have actually had an opportunity to do a wide range of events. I've done birthday parties, weddings. I've done corporate events. I have hosted baby showers, quinceañeras, a lot of different events. But right now, my focus is mainly in like the wedding industry. So that's proposals, engagement parties, the actual weddings, bridal showers, anything in that wedding industry, and then in corporate events and birthdays and baby showers. So that's typically where I'm booking right now.
Yeah, yeah. And what area do you serve?
I serve the greater Houston area, but I also travel to different cities in Texas. So I'm not shy or opposed to traveling. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
definitely
It's
open to that.
I always tell people it's Texas, so we drive. We're used to
Oh yeah, yeah.
it. Well, that's excellent. That's great. And so kind of I don't know what would make your events different from other people's events. How are yours special? What extra sparkle do you add?
I know this may be a bit cliche, but I make it special because I add my touch to it. Every event that I do is personal for me because I get to know the client. With me being a smaller business, I thought that I'd be at a disadvantage, but the advantage that I have is that I get to know the client. I get that one-on-one time with them because it is a personal relationship that we build. So I get that time to get to know them, to actually understand their vision, and I can deliver a better product because I get to know not just you, but what it is that you're hoping to feel and experience on that day. So I think that, and the fact that I'm very good with my hands. So if you give me something like a prototype, I'm 90% sure I can recreate it. So,
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. I've found like with houses, it's a feeling that people get when they walk in. And I would imagine events are much the same.
oh,
People are just looking for a feeling and they get lost in the details, but it's a feeling, how it makes them
yeah.
feel. And
And
I,
that's what they'll remember. That's what they'll
yeah.
remember. If you ask them, what color were the roses? 90% of them probably won't remember, but they'll remember the event, the feeling that they felt when they walked in the room, the
Yeah.
ambiance, like they'll remember that. So
Yeah. How
that's what
special
I
they feel. And I agree. It is you. I've met Stephanie in person and she's just exudes this warmth and this love about her. She would be a great person to work with, I feel. So that's
feel.
exciting. Yeah. So what else? What else have I not asked you about your business? What how can people I mean, how far in advance do they need to reach out to you?
Um, I would prefer if it's like a bigger event, so like a wedding, I would prefer to get like 6 months because again, I believe that the quality that I put out is going to be based off of the amount of time and the planning that I put into the
Mhm.
event. So the more time that I have to get with you, the more time that I have to check in and make sure that my the direction I'm heading in aligns with your vision, like the better product that I can deliver in the end. So the more time that I can have, the more time in advance or months in advance that someone can reverse, sorry,
It's okay.
reserve an event date for me or with me
Mhm.
would be better. I have done short notice, I won't lie. I've done like 30 days turnarounds and I've delivered a good event in 30 days. So
Yeah.
but I don't want to. I want to be able to dedicate as much time to each event as I can to make it the best turnout. So I would ask that the moment that you know that you want to book something, like just reach out, connect with me and let's get brainstorming, let's get planning.
Yeah,
So
so it's like we talked about a second ago. There are a lot of little pieces, a lot of moving parts that are required for a big event like that. So it does
absolutely.
take a certain amount of time. And I understand sometimes people will lose the person or they'll have a falling out or something, and that'll create some kind of urgency that they have a shorter term thing. But if you're planning a wedding or planning some big event, get with Stephanie early. Another question is, do you help them find the venue and the place, or do they kind of have that in mind before they come to you? What?
No, so great question. I have different packages. So I understand that my client base is going to range from those that just want something small and intimate in their home, and maybe they don't want me there to set up. So I have like a DIY package where I just deliver the items, you set it up on your own time, and then I just come and pick up the items. And I also go all the way up to where I do it all for you. I can book the catering, find the venue. So I just leave it open to what the client's needs are. So they don't have to come to the table having the venue already selected. I can do that piece for them. It all depends on how involved do you want me. So,
Okay. And it sounds like you've got a large range in price packages as well. So if
yes,
someone's on a tighter budget, you can still make them a really nice, elegant thing, but within their budget. So everyone
absolutely.
can feel special. Just not
Yeah.
just reserved for those people who have lots of dollar signs attached to them. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely work with them to make sure I can deliver an amazing out or event on their budget. So definitely.
Yeah. And especially a wedding. Every bride wants to feel like that's her special day. Right? So
Yeah. And it is. And you should. And, I want to be a part of that. I want to deliver that with you alongside you, develop that, create it, however you see it. But
yeah.
I definitely want to be a part of it. That's the reason I got in the business. I love seeing the expression on their face when they walk in. So
Yeah, what a fun job to just be there for all the good stuff, right?
absolutely. And that doesn't hurt either, right?
Yeah,
So the
exactly,
fact that
exactly.
your work is fun.
Awesome. Yeah. Um, well, let's see what am I not asking? What do you want to share about it? Is there something
Um,
else?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that well, for my event, is that I'm a person first, right? So I get it when we book larger corporations or larger companies where we're investing into the company, but for me, because I am a person first, the one thing I think I heard you ask, what, how can people support my business or how can people help my business? It's
Yeah.
just understanding that every booking, every inquiry is like you're investing in me, the person, and the person behind the brand is a veteran. I'm a mother. I'm an entrepreneur. I wear a million hats, but I appreciate all of the support. If it's just spreading the word about the business, or a referral, or just letting me know if you know of venues that I could partner with, anything helps. There's
Yeah.
nothing that someone could do to help me along my business that would be too small or that I
Yeah.
wouldn't be grateful for. So,
And we're going to
um,
put Stephanie's contact information in the description, and we'll also have an end card at the end of the video that'll show her contact information. You have a website that might show like pictures of some of your events so people can
I
get an
do,
idea of the flavor of what you do?
I do. On my business card, it should link you to my webpage as well as my Instagram, so you can check out some of the work that I do. Right now, I'm just creating, so hopefully,
Yeah.
you get to see a little bit of that on my website.
Excellent. So we'll have that in the description for sure. So you guys click on her website and check out all the things that she does. That's super exciting. So well, if I ever get married again, I'll have you plan my party.
Absolutely, I'm your girl.
Got to find the person first, and I'm not even
Oh,
in the arena
yeah,
yet. So we'll find
well,
that later when the
it will
time is
come.
right.
Trust me, it will. Got great love.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. So far, I'm better off single.
You
Anyway,
know what? That's okay. We can throw you a single girls party.
yeah, yeah. Celebrate our goddessness, right? Okay, so tell us a little bit about your transition. Being a veteran, you have gone through transitioning from a long career into civilian life. Surely there were some difficulties that you had that you overcame. How can you um,
There,
like help someone else by telling how you overcame those things?
I think the biggest thing, the biggest struggle that I faced in my transition was figuring out who I was outside of the military. So, like, finding my identity outside of the uniform. Because when you grow up in an environment, it's so much, it's so ingrained in you. It's hard to know, where does Sergeant First Class Marty stop and Stephanie Marty begin, right? So that was the biggest thing. I went through a phase where I had that whole identity crisis period where I was just sitting around like, okay, what now? What do I do now? Where do I go now? And it was hard. I won't lie. It wasn't easy. I did all the things that helped me be successful in the military. I sought therapy. I just made myself get out there and establish a community. Um, it's too easy to sit there and like wallow in that moment, but it's always about being active. And this is just what I found from my personal experience, is making yourself get out there and do those things so you can build those gaps, and or bridge those gaps and build that community. The other big thing that I found was planning really helps. um, Obviously we can't plan for everything, but just having an initial plan and maybe like a backup plan is a good place to start. You'll need to make adjustments along the way, but again, planning is a big part of that transition, especially when you're transitioning with a family. That's going to be a big part of it. So,
Yeah. So like
and
planning
move.
where you're going to live and what you're going to do to earn money, what
Yes,
you're going to do
and
about not being isolated.
yes,
There's several things to plan that you need to include on your list that,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
um Community is going to be a big one, because again, you're if like for me, I relocated from Wisconsin to Texas. So I don't really have a lot of family in Texas, and I knew that going in. So it was important for me to find a city where me and my kids could be successful, and make sure things like I'm close to a military support system too, or something. Depends on what the person is looking for outside on their retirement journey, or their next journey. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
just transitioning and
Yeah.
getting out, or if you're transitioning and retiring, but it's important that you keep that in mind, because that's going to be a big part of the your mental health, maintaining your mental health, because we're social creatures. We need to socialize, and as much as I wanted to be alone, I needed my community, and so that was fundamental in my maintaining my mental health. So.
Yeah. I've talked to quite a few veterans now on the podcast, and my conception before I started doing all this was that more people suffered with, PTSD kind of things and those kind of bad feelings. But I'm finding that more people are missing the camaraderie in the community. Like you say, when they get out, they just kind of feel alone and isolated when they are out of the military then, and they're trying to find other people who've kind of been through the same things and understand.
Yeah. One thing I took for granted was how easy it was to move from one place to another, knowing that you had the Army community to fall back on. Like if I got, when I moved to Hawaii, single mom of two, I didn't know anyone there, but I connected with people like the people in my unit or people within the housing community. It was always just there and available for me. I never had to go out and find it. And so now retiring and moving out here, it's like, oh, I actually have to do the work to go find the community. It's not just here
Yeah.
ready and available for me. So that yeah, you do miss that camaraderie, you miss that community, you miss the ease of it. So yeah, I can attest to that for sure.
Yeah. Well, there it's easy because your neighbors on base are also trying to make friends and have that community. But when you get out into the real world, your neighbors might not necessarily be in that frame of mind. But fortunately, there are tons of organizations and tons of groups and
Yeah.
tons of, little masterminds or little friend groups of veterans, and it takes, just find one that you can be friends with, and then y'all
Oh
grow
yeah,
from there. Reach out to somebody. They're not going to reach out to you necessarily. You just have to make a call, go to some kind of group meeting, some kind of event that they're putting on, find
absolutely.
something, and you'll start connecting from there.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, it's
Or look at things to do in your city. There are always like social gatherings. So I like to paint. So I look up like
yeah,
painting events where I could go to, and I'll just randomly start conversations. And sometimes it's a little weird, but
yeah.
eventually, they open up, I open up, and that's a connection that I didn't have initially. So
Have
um,
you have you hooked up with Amelia Templeton's group Artist in Arms? She's in
I
the Greater Houston
haven't.
area.
I
They do
I've been,
kind of pop-up events for people who do art, any kind of art, whether it's
yeah,
artisan, woodcraft, all the way to sewing, painting, whatever it is. That would be a good connection for you.
yeah,
I think, yeah.
that would be. My painting is a little bit amateur, but
It
um,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
does sound like a good connection, especially since she was in my class and her
Yeah.
personality. She was actually one of the first people that I connected with.
Yeah. She's a sweetheart.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
well,
was
that's
definitely.
fun.
We ended up rooming together, so, sort of, for like the first couple hours. But yeah, she's amazing, and her personality fits her field.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
kind of like free, abstract. Like it's her group seems like an amazing connection. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, it's totally awesome. And my very first podcast interview was with Gunny. I don't know, he was in a prior EBV class. He came back
Mhm.
for that very first night, but
Okay.
he's got a thing in Willis, Texas, kind of a support group for veterans too. It's there, if you're in trouble in the middle of the night, you can call him and he'll come and get you. There's helps out there to be had. You just need to find it and,
Yeah.
have the numbers to call.
That's definitely important. That's vital for that successful transition is making those connections. And
Yeah.
again, from coming from someone like me who didn't make a lot of connections in the military because it's just my personality is just I was a loner, but I found out how important that was in the transition, like not being afraid to, like you said, research those organizations, reach out, make those connections. So
Yeah. And I think it's important to note on the other side, if you know someone who's transitioning who might be struggling, just call them and check on them. Say, hey,
yeah,
how you doing?
exactly,
Want to
exactly.
go have lunch or whatever.
Yeah, that can
So,
make all the difference.
yeah.
'Cause you
So,
never know what they're
um,
going through, and that phone call may be that exact thing that they need in that moment.
yeah, just someone to be recognized, somebody to reach out and extend a hand. That's all it is.
Mm,
It's free. It's easy. It doesn't cost a thing. So,
exactly. Yep.
yeah.
It may be beneficial for both too.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes it's good for me to connect and just be reminded that I'm not on my journey alone and that like, especially when I connect with some of my friends, they don't have to live in the same state. It could just be someone like you mentioned. I know that we transitioned out at the same time. checking on
Mhm.
them, having them check on me like that. That's also been a big part of my transition to so
Yeah.
staying connected.
Everybody needs a little bit of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome sauce. Okay, so to bless your business best, we can just spread the word. That's the biggest thing we can do to help you out is spread the word about what the Styles by Stephanie. Is that the name of your business?
Anya.
Okay, stop, Stefan. Okay, so we'll put your information in the description and at the end. So be sure to share that with everybody you know. And so, what would be your one very most important piece of advice that you would give someone who's fixing to step out of the military into civilian life? They're on the edge of transitioning.
So I know it's one, but I have three, if that's
Okay,
okay.
that's
So
fine.
one is don't let the fear consume you, right? So it's easy to be afraid of the unknown when you are, especially if you're retiring from a long career, like this is what you've known, this is what you've done. But don't let the fear cripple you. It's okay, it's healthy to have a normal amount of fear, but I think don't let it cripple you to the point where you fail to plan or you fail to prepare enough to make that successful transition. The second piece that I would have again is stay connected. You never know how you could benefit from a connection. Don't rule anyone out or any connection out because, again, you may plan a transition route, but that may not be the way things turn out. And then another connection may be beneficial when you derail from your original plan. So, again, stay connected, keep all of those connections. And the third thing is plan, 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 right? Again, I'm not a planner by nature. I'm not. But when you're making such a big life change, planning is important.
Yeah,
Taking into consideration where you'll be, how will you fund your next phase of your life, and how will you provide for your family? Will you need to work? Budgeting, all those things. So just planning and preparing will make it a much easier, smoother transition than if you just jumped out there. But so those are
yeah,
my three things. Just don't let fear consume you or cripple you. Stay connected and plan, plan.
yeah. So while you were saying that, um, kind of having a plan, it strikes me that, maybe that's why so many marriages fail because people jump in without a plan on how to deal with the difficulties that are going to come up. And, there's a lot of marriages fail these days. So I
Yeah, it's
think,
important to consider those things. Like, no one wants to go into something big or something exciting thinking about what happens if it doesn't work. But
yeah,
we have to. That's life. We plan it, and sometimes it doesn't work. So you
yeah.
definitely, I think, planning and preparing to prevent a lot of things like failed marriages, failed relationships,
Right, right. What are we
successful transitions. But
gonna
yeah, I think
Well,
it's definitely worth investing in planning.
exactly, exactly. Well, thank you for coming today. I've been waiting to talk to you. I'm so excited that you came, and I look forward to seeing how your business grows. And we'll have to have you come back and talk again later and
Yeah,
see how
I'd
things are
love to
changing for you.
give an update.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
If there's ever anything else we can do for you, just let us know, okay?
Thank you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited about helping ease your transition. If you're needing help or answers, please reach out. I would love to find an expert who can answer the questions in a future episode, or I can connect you with someone for more immediate help. We're here to serve you for a change. Don't be shy. My contact information is right here for you to use.